ज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानञ्जना शलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunapanditam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavanishwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna
Krishna,
Hare
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 Hare,
Hare Rama
Hare
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 Rama
Rama,
Rama Rama
Rama
Hare
Hare Hare.
Hare Jai Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai
Anantakoti Vaishnava ki Jai. So we can all say also the invocation before we read from the Bhagavatam. We can say that together. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Jai. Hare Krishna. So now I will do my best to share my screen. This could be a little tedious, but let's hope not. So please bear with me. Just one moment. Start share. This will stop other screen sharing. Yes. Okay. Share. Alrighty. There we go. Oops. See. Okay. All right. So, Hare Krishna, everyone. Very nice to be with all of you. So just bear with me for one moment. I have to get this on my phone also because with the screen share, it's not showing my notes. Um, so nice to be with all of you. And again, I'd like to thank you very much for continuing. You're up to the fourth, almost the end of the fourth canto now, which is incredible and wonderful. And those of you who have been on the journey each week going through a different chapter, I can only imagine how uplifting and inspiring this must be for you. So I think this is wonderful. I'm so happy to be here to be discussing the Bhagavatam with you all. And I'm just gonna see if I can, there is view options. There we go. Okay. Alrighty. So let's first look at a little bit of background. So um, this section that we're going to read today, this chapter 22 of the fourth canto, which is entitled the Prithu Maharaj's meeting with the four Kumaras. So this was actually a prediction that was given by the reciters that after King Prithu was appeared, he was, we know the pastime that he was churned from the bones of his father Venu, not Venu, Vena, who was not such a nice person. Then one of the predictions that was given was that King Prithu will meet Sanatan Kumar, one of the four Kumars, in the garden of his palace compound. The king will worship him with devotion and will be fortunate to receive instructions by which one can enjoy transcendental bliss. So we know that Sanatan Kumar, or the four Kumars, they are the eldest sons of Lord Brahma. And we also know that that they were very clear about their desire to remain brahmachari, and so much so that they retained childlike bodies, and in that way they never grew into what you could say puberty, and they never experienced this sex desire, and they were able to retain their brahmacharya existence. But of course, this didn't make Lord Brahma very happy, because his job, service given to him by Krishna directly, was to create progeny and to populate the earth. So he thought, here I've got four good sons, and now they've decided to remain brahmacharis. So, but they are the eldest sons of Lord Brahma, predating even Lord Shiva in that sense. We also know that the four Kumars were involved in a little bit of a dispute, and that dispute was with two gatekeepers, Jai and Vijay. And in that dispute, the four Kumars actually wound up cursing Jai and Vijay, but due to that, they also received the darshan of the Lord, at which time they were able to smell the aroma of the tulsi leaves that had been offered directly to the lotus feet of the Lord. And by that aroma of the Tulsi, they were converted to personalists, to bhaktas. Instead, before they were Brahmavadis, meant that they understood everything was the energy of God, but they did not have the full personal conception of God. So like that. Prithu Maharaj has led a very adventurous life, and you've heard all of these different adventures, how he tried to tame the earth, forcing her to bring forth from within her all of the minerals and jewels and necessities for his kingdom. He also tried to perform 100 horse sacrifices, and that's one of my favorite pastimes of Prithu Maharaj. There's so much in that pastime for us to understand in our own lives about how the Lord sees things, how the Lord sees even disagreements amongst his devotees, how much he loves and appreciates all of his devotees, even when they don't act properly. The Lord is still supportive of them, and how the Lord can apparently seem to be correcting or chastising one of us when the other one should be getting chastisement, but he'll correct us because we may be humble enough to accept his correction. So all of these different things in Prithu's life. This pastime specifically today, we're going to look at his exemplary behavior and how that can be beneficial for us. And also this principle of Vaishnav Seva, or in the modern day we're calling devotee care, where we actually learn how to love and appreciate and care for the devotees, to encourage and inspire them, to serve them. Vaishnav Seva. And of course, with Vaishnav Seva, there are always benedictions that come, but that's not why we do Vaishnav Seva. We serve the devotees because it is the right thing to do, because it is dharmic. It is what pleases Krishna. Krishna says that if you think that you're my devotee, you're not my devotee. But if you are the devotee of my devotee, then you're my devotee. And that my devotees are more dear to me than my own self. So like that, we even saw that in the previous pastimes with Pritumara, well, with Jai and Vijay and the four Kumaras, that the Lord said that, to take responsibility for his devotees, he's willing to hack off his own arm. So like this, the Lord loves his devotees. So this we've divided into 4 sections, this chapter. And we're not going to read all the verses, although that would be wonderful. And I hope that you have all read through the verses. If not, we're not going to do that. I encourage you to do that in your own time. But I think it used to be that you did do that on one other day. But this section, this chapter can be divided into these 4 different sections. One is the perfect reception. The second section is Sanat and Kumar speaks. And then the third section is Prithu Maharaj's praise of Sanat Kumar and the 4 Kumars in general. And then the last section is all about Prithu Maharaj's amazing qualities. So we're just going to try to extract one main point from each of these. And please remind me that the time that I have to finish, I think I finished just before 9. Is that right? And allow time for questions and answers or something like that?
That's correct, Prabhu.
Okay, so like that. Excuse me. So text 1 through 16 is the perfect reception. And you can see here in this beautiful picture, another thing that we just have to thank Srila Prabhupada for. What a genius. I mean, Srila Prabhupada, our founder Acharya, is, genius beyond genius. Amongst geniuses, he's a genius. And his ability to engage, encourage, and inspire devotion from those who came forward to serve him, to connect with him. Because of that, we have these beautiful windows into the spiritual world. And, I was with some brahmachari friends the other day, and we were just discussing how we used to sit in the book room and just look through the books and stare at the pictures in the early days and think, wow, what's this? Wow, what pastime is that? Before we had actually read the Bhagavatam. And then once you read and you see the pictures, you're like, wow. So today, when I was looking for this picture, I was just reminded of how Prithu Maharaj is just such the perfect person, and he received the 4 Kumars in the perfect way. So this first section of this chapter 22, Prithu Maharaj, he receives the 4 Kumars, and you can see in the picture very nicely how he receives them. He's actually washing their feet off. Everyone was so enthusiastic when they saw the 4 Kumars. It's described, they were shining like the sun, brilliant, beautiful. They were easily recognized. Everyone became enthusiastic to receive them. And this should be our spirit and mood when we have the opportunity to associate with saintly personalities. Prithu Maharaj also mentions to them how rare it is for anyone to get the darshan of the 4 Kumars. Even great yogis rarely achieve the darshan of the 4 Kumars. So he was feeling, my God, what have I done? How have I become so fortunate? And again, this is a kind of mood that we should also inculcate within ourselves when we get the opportunity to associate with senior persons or great souls. He explains the fortunate householders. He also explains the unfortunate householders, and that's something that we're going to look at today. And then Prithu Maharaj also asks a question, poses a question, because this is the nature of a nature of the nature of an interaction with a great soul is that of questions and answers. So he poses a question. And then he mentions that they're the Lord's representatives. So like that. So the main point that we're going to discuss from this first section is the importance of receiving saintly persons properly. So the main point that is brought out in this section is that saintly persons should be received with eagerness. In the Nectar of Instruction, Srila Rupa Goswami and Srila Prabhupada explain a term known as utsahan. Utsahan means with enthusiasm. And Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport that there can be no success in spiritual life without enthusiasm. We have to become enthusiastic about spiritual life. And when we have the opportunity to hear from or to personally serve, especially to get the personal service of a saintly person, we should be very eager for that opportunity. The way that Maharaj Prithu did this was exemplary in the sense that he set the perfect example for his community. Just like we know from the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya, that King Prataparudra, although he was a great king, that he came down personally and swept the street in front of Lord Jagannath. And when Lord Chaitanya saw this, he understood that actually King Prataparudra, although a great king, he is invested with humility. And this is another important quality that we will discuss today. And it's exceptional. It's exceptional that one gets the opportunity to serve personally a great devotee, especially if a great devotee comes to your house. And this is what is also discussed in this first section, the, the potency of, if you're a grihasta, if you are a householder and you have a home, part of your duty is to invite the sadhus, to invite devotees to your house, to speak Krishna Katha, and to serve them nicely. So this is an exceptional opportunity that not everyone in the world gets, not everyone in the world takes. So this is a beautiful thing. And then there is fortune or misfortune. And so we will look at this now. So in the verses, it is stated that a person who is not very rich and is attached to family life, so it means basically you're poor and you're an attached householder. You're really attached to your wife and your children and your commodities at home. So even though you're not rich and you're attached, you become highly glorified when saintly persons are present in his home. The master and servants who are engaged in offering the exalted visitors water, a sitting place, and paraphernalia for reception are glorified, and the home itself is also glorified. So this is an invitation to each and every one of you who is a householder on this call to open your home and invite devotees in. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Lord Chaitanya, they all explain that actually our homes should become a temple. Our homes should become a place, a sacred space, and we should invite sadhus, we should invite saintly persons, we should invite the devotees to come for kirtan, to speak katha, to come together to hear and chant together. And what happens is you don't have to be rich, you don't have to have a fancy house, it doesn't have to be big, and it doesn't have to be that you have to be a pure devotee. You just have to understand the benefits and the potency of inviting devotees into your house. Now, this is the fortune. What is the misfortune? On the contrary, even though full of all opulence and material prosperity, any householder's house where the devotees of the Lord are never allowed to come in, and where there is no water for washing their feet, is to be considered a tree in which all venomous serpents live. Now you got to love the Bhagavatam because it doesn't mince words. It just puts it out there straight as it is, basically saying that if you don't serve the Vaishnavas, if you don't invite devotees to your home and serve them nicely, then no matter how opulent your house is, no matter what you have, that house just becomes like a tree filled with snakes, venomous serpents, in fact. So this is should be a strong encouragement for all of us to genuinely think and consider how our homes and our houses can become places of service of the Vaishnava, service to the devotees. And it doesn't have to be something opulent. We shouldn't get hung up or held up or stopped by thinking, oh, my house isn't big, my house isn't like this. None of that matters. You can invite one or two devotees and just sit and read Bhagavatam together. And that house becomes a divine place, because wherever we hear and chant, Krishna is personally present in sound vibration. And that's one verse, and I can't remember the Sanskrit, but it's described that, you know, the Lord isn't in the heavenly planets, the Lord isn't in all these different places, but where is the Lord? He is where his devotees come together and hear and chant. So our house becomes a sacred, holy place. When we come together with the devotees, we serve the devotees. This is the main thing. So let us remember the importance of Vaishnav Seva, of devotee care, to actually care for and look after other devotees, to invite them, to help them, inspire them, encourage them, and enlighten them like that. So a reflection, I just thought that we could either open it up or you could write something down now. It's always a little difficult online. But if someone would like to unmute and just say, why do you think it's so important that we open up our home and invite the devotees? Why do you think this is so important?
I have an answer.
Yes, please.
Because in the scriptures we read that Grihastha ashram is not different from, not the Grihastha ashram, but married life can become not different from a dark well. And a dark well, you know better than me that if you fall into a dark well, it will be, certainly it will be most impossible to get out on your own. So if you take to Grihastha ashram, it becomes very risky if you reject the association of saintly people who could be coming to your home to save you from how deteriorated your Grihamedi life, if it happens to be Grihamedi, to save you from how Grihamedi, your Grihastha life, may become if you're not careful.
Wonderful. Beautiful answer. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
No, I'm not sure what happened there. Oh, can you still see my screen?
Just we're seeing something else, Prabhu.
Yeah, okay. It's hard. Let me see, I think. Now can you see it?
Yeah, it's come back.
All right, perfect. Okay, yeah, so that's wonderful. So you can just maybe think for yourself now, make a note, write it down. If you want to put it in the chat, you can. I can't see the chat right now, but someone will share it with me later. But if you want to put it in the chat, why you think this is so important, and make it really personal for you. Why is it important for me that I actually do this? Maybe I should think about how I can invite some devotees to my home, or I can open up my home like that and serve the devotees. Okay, so we're moving on to the next section. Next section is Sanatan Kumar Speaks. So after this amazing reception of the four Kumars, and King Prithu is washing the feet, offering them all paraphernalia, he sits them on his throne, and basically he's just, showing them, treating them so nicely. And imagine if you go to visit someone's home and and they welcome you nicely with sweet words. You come in, they offer you something to drink. You know, these days people don't usually wash your feet, but if they're just nice, you know, and they welcome you in and they sit you down in the sweet place and they're, oh, we're so happy to see you. Thank you for coming. You just feel like, oh, wow, these people love me. These people care for me. And naturally, what will happen is you'll want to reciprocate. And the way that a saintly person reciprocates is by giving spiritual knowledge. So now Sanat Kumar will reciprocate. And Prithu Maharaj had asked a question in the previous section, because that is also part of a way that we receive a guest. In the Brihad Bhagavatamrita, by Srila Sanatan Goswami, it is described how when Gopakumar returned to the spiritual world, Krishna embraced him. And the first thing that Krishna said after embracing him is, how are you? How have you been? So this is the mood. We ask a question, we inquire submissively. Tad vidi prani patina pari prashnena sevaya upadekshanti teganam gyaninas tattva darshana, that we inquire from saintly persons with a mood of humility and with service, and then they can reveal to us the truth. So this is the question Prithu Maharaj asked. Could such persons whose only aim in life is sense gratification, can they be blessed with any good fortune? So I'm sure you probably know some people like this. I'm sure none of you are like this, that your only aim is sense gratification, but we may know people like this, or we may have been like this. For me, unfortunately, it's like, yeah, the senses are perpetually desiring to be gratified, always wanting something, wanting this, wanting that. And, you know, we're always trying to gratify the senses in some way. And so, is there any hope? This question, I feel like Prithu Maharaj has asked this question for me. He's saying, Sanat Kumar, is there any hope for Jai Nitai Das? Is there any hope that he can be blessed with good fortune in this life? Is there any hope? And Sanatan Kumar then speaks, and he explains that yes, there must be detachment and attachment. This is actually our process of bhakti. Primarily, it is focused on attachment. Our process of bhakti is primarily about attachment, although we often focus on trying to become detached from things, but actually the main goal for us is to become attached. And what are we trying to become attached to? We're trying to become attached to Krishna. So like this, he says we have to learn detachment from the body. Ooh, not so easy. The other day I had some issues with my back. I had to go see a person who moved my body in such ways that it was cracking and snapping. And I was screaming. And I thought, I can't believe I'm paying you to torture me like this. And then I was sitting there and he said, at one point he said, just close your eyes and imagine you're on holiday. And I thought, I can try to imagine I'm like in the spiritual world and still I'm so attached to this body. So, you know, I wonder, will the day ever come when I'm not attached to this body? And then we have to become attached to the Lord. So detachment from the body and attached to the Lord. So here's a list of things that are given in text 22 through 24 on how we can develop attachment to the Lord and detachment from the body. So first, there has to be Shraddha. We have to have some faith. We have to develop faith that by becoming attached to Krishna, by putting my faith in the Lord, by doing the right things, Krishna will help me. And then being inquisitive about the process of bhakti. As we mentioned, this is what Prithu Maharaj did. He inquired from Sanat Kumar, and he asked him, you know, how can others be helped? How can they be helped? Can we help them? So we inquire about the process of bhakti. You're all here inquiring. And then we have to apply bhakti yoga in our life. It's not just that we sit and hear about it on the Thursday evening in the Learning Bhagavatam session, and then we just go back to whatever we used to do. No, we have to think, how can I apply something from this session in my life? The first part, serve Vaishnavas, invite them to your home, encourage people to come to your home, hear and chant together. Worshiping the Lord or topmost yogi or devotee, exactly what we just said. That the worship of the Lord's devotee is non-different from the worship of the Lord, because the Lord sees his devotee as more dear than his own self, more dear than his own body. And Prabhupada used to say, love me, love my dog. And then he would say that we are the dog of Krishna. So, because this is our dog tag, is Tulsi Kantimala. Regularly hearing and chanting the Lord's glories. So all of you are doing this every Thursday. You're hearing and chanting together. And then what not to do, that we have to give up association with persons who are just simply interested in sense gratification and money. Now, this is always a question. Devotees always say, how can I do that? Prabhuji, you say to give up association of non-devotees, but I have to go to work. I have to get on the bus. I have to go to the grocery store. I have to do this. And yes, it doesn't mean that we don't go out in the world, that we don't live in the world, we don't lock ourselves in a closet or a bedroom and not speak to anyone. But we don't take that association in the sense that we don't sit there and try to understand, how can I become more materialistic? So not associating with associates of materialists, or not accepting their goals. And this is very important, that we don't have the same goals as them. You may see a devotee in the bank, you may see a devotee in the grocery store, you may see a devotee in different places and think, oh, they do the same thing as everybody else. But no, excuse me, the devotees are always trying to serve the Lord. So if a devotee's in the grocery store picking out oranges or tomatoes or lettuce or whatever, some fruits and vegetables, we may think, oh, just see, he's a sense gratifier. But no, he's thinking, oh, I'm going to make a nice offering for Krishna. So the goal is different. Being disgusted with the taste for sense enjoyment. Oh, wouldn't that be nice? Unfortunately, most of us have such a taste for sense enjoyment that it's hard to become disgusted with it. But you will notice that over time, slowly but surely, we actually begin to feel disgust or distaste for these things. Yamunacharya explains that, that he has become so attached to Krishna that whenever he has thoughts of sex life, he turns and he spits at the thought, which I've always thought was interesting, because Yamunacharya is such a great exalted person, and still he may get the thoughts, but he's turned, his stomach is turned at the thought of this. Why did I think like this? Now, it doesn't mean that we spit on the object of our desire. It's a metaphor, understanding that actually I become disgusted with the taste for sense enjoyment. Being satisfied in the self. We just have to become self-satisfied. We have to find within ourselves that we become complete. We actually become complete within ourselves. And people notice that externally, outside, family members, friends. I noticed this in my very good friend when I first joined, that I was working so hard to earn money and do so many things, and he was earning so much less, but he seemed happy. Him and his partner, they just seemed happy. And I thought, how is he so content and I'm struggling and I'm earning so much more, doing so many more things? Because as devotees, we become just satisfied in the self, self-satisfied, Atmaram. molding one's life so that one cannot live in peace without drinking the nectar of the Lord's qualities. This is a lovely one. Vinahare guna piyusha panat, that we mold our life so that we just want to hear the chanting of the holy name. We want to hear kirtan. We want to read the Bhagavatam. We want to hear the Gita. We want to talk in conversation with other devotees about Krishna. That we have to become nonviolent. And Prabhupada explains this very clearly in the Bhagavad Gita 13th chapter, texts 8 through 12, if you want to look that up another time. Following in the footsteps of the great acharyas. Yes, we just have to follow in the footsteps. Try not to imitate, but understand that is where I want to go. Please, Krishna, help me get to the point where I can also lead a life which is exemplary for others, where I have a taste for hearing and chanting the holy name. Remembering and tasting the sweetness of the excellent pastimes of the Lord. Smritya mukunda acharita agriya siduna. Yes, beautiful. Remembering and tasting the sweetness of the excellent pastimes of the Lord. It should be like when we're talking about the Lord and the Lord's devotees and his pastimes, we're just like, this is so good. I just want to keep hearing. I want to keep reading. Like Lord Chaitanya, he used to hear the Bhagavatam, and Gadadhar Pandit would read a pastime to him, and he'd finish the pastime, and the Lord would be like, read it again, read it again. So this is the mood that we should be aspiring for. Practicing the yama and niyama without material desires. Practicing yama, niyama, that means the things that we accept and the things that we reject without material desires. Not criticizing others. Oh goodness, we could just give this up. Wouldn't that be beautiful? Just one of those things, not criticizing others. And their methods of religion. Very interesting, especially given the current mood of things here in the UK with people, rioting and doing protesting in so many different ways. If we could just learn to see what unites us and not what separates us. Simple and plain living. Yes, just lead a simple life. We don't have to be so complicated. And then, of course, tolerating dvandva titikshaya, tolerating the dualities. So these are a beautiful list, many things here. You can find this in verses 22, 23, and 24 in this chapter 22. So my request of you now is an introspection for yourself. You don't share it here. If you want, you can share something in the chat, but just for you, write down, think, which one area that we just mentioned above do you feel that you could make a serious effort to improve in? And I'll just show these to you again. Which one of these do you think that you can try to make some effort? Like tonight you write it down, and tomorrow morning when you wake up, you think, no, I am going to try to mold my life more so that I cannot live in peace without drinking the nectar of the Lord's qualities. Or I can try to not criticize others, or I can try to make my life a little bit more simple, or I can try to be more tolerant or nonviolent. So like that. So please introspect, think, what can I do? Okay, I better get moving. Prithu Maharaj's praise. So the next section, text 41 through 48. So after all of this, since Sanatan Kumar speaks so much, I just touched on one small section, but you can see there's so much nectar. This is why Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur could speak for 30 days, gave Bhagavatam class 30 days in a row on the same verse and never really broached the same subject matters again. So much nectar. So the main point of this section is the humility of a true leader. The humility of a true leader. So a true leader is not proud. A true leader is actually humble. The word, and this is from the verse 43, the word sadhuchistam is significant in this verse. Prithu Maharaj got his kingdom from great saintly persons like Brigu and others, just as one gets remnants of food. Maharaj Prithu's position was something like that. Whatever he possessed had already been chewed, and therefore he cannot offer it to the Kumaras. Indirectly, however, he offered everything he possessed to the Kumaras, and consequently, they utilized his possessions in whatever way they liked. So this is very important. So after Sanatan Kumar had given spiritual wisdom, spiritual knowledge, Prithu Maharaj is thinking, you have just given me something of great value. You have just enriched my life by delivering the messages of Godhead. You have just given me the greatest gift, the highest wealth. I have to give you something back. I have to offer you some dakshin, some reciprocation. This is naturally what we would do to someone who gives spiritual knowledge. We would at least offer some service or offer some gift. But Prithu Maharaj is so exalted, so humble that he's thinking, what can I offer you? Nothing here is mine. It is simply sadhu chistam. Because he explains that when I was born from the bones of my father, that happened by Brigu and the other saintly persons. They gave me this life and everything that it entails. So all of this is not mine. It all belongs to the sadhus who gave it to me. So he's very much thinking with this mood and mentality that what can I offer you? It already belongs to you. You're the saintly persons. We are simply made of the mercy of the Vaishnavas. We are simply made of the mercy of the devotees. We may think we have so much, but actually we have nothing. Were it not for the mercy of my guru, Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuram Militangena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, but my eyes have been opened by the torch night of knowledge, delivered by the mercy of a Vaishnava, delivered by the mercy of my spiritual master. So a reflection on this statement is this really true? And does it apply to me? Is this really true that what's happening? Yeah, is this really true that nothing here is mine and that it is all the mercy of someone else? Or do I think that no, this is my water bottle, this is my phone, this is my glasses, this is my little clicker, this is my, fisherman's friends. This is my, I, me, my. Unfortunately, this is the way that most of us think. I do think like that for sure. I think this, I, me, my. But is it true that actually none of this belongs to us? We simply inherited everything. So this is the way that Maharaj Prithu was thinking. So do we really think this is true? Does it apply to me? Or is it just some useless information that this bald-headed Hare Krishna guy is trying to give me over the internet tonight, which is relatively useless and has no relevance to me? So really search deeply. Think, is this relevant? Is this really true? Does it apply to me? Okay, moving to the last section. Prithu's qualities, text 49 through 63. So the main point is the spirit of action and the mood of duty. A very exalted person once said to me, Jai Nitai, it is not what you do, it is how you do it. It is not what you do, but it is how you do it. So what is the mood of our actions? What is the spirit of our duty? What is the spirit of our action? What is the mood of our duty? How are we doing the things that we're doing? Because we may be performing devotional service, but our minds could be a million miles away, or we could be doing it reluctantly, or we could be doing it in even a spiteful or vengeful mood. But we have to check this. So Maharaj Prithu in text 51, it says, Maharaj Prithu completely dedicated himself to be an eternal servant of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, transcendental to the material nature. Consequently, all the fruits of his activities were dedicated to the Lord, and he always thought of himself as the servant of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the proprietor of everything. This is the mood by which we perform our activities. Whatever we do, I'm going to school to get an education. I'm going to work to earn money. I'm a salesperson. I'm a street sweeper. I'm a businessman. I'm a lawyer. I'm a doctor. I'm a dentist. I'm a, whatever we are simply the servants of the Lord. And whatever fruits come from our actions should be offered and dedicated to the Lord. And in that way, we should see ourselves as a servant of the Lord in whatever we do. So another introspection for everyone. And what one way could I try tonight, tomorrow, to dedicate my actions as service to the Lord? Just one little way. If we take one step towards Krishna, he takes 1,000 steps towards us. Krishna says, Patram Pushpam Palam Toyam, that we just simply have to offer a little fruit, a little flower, some water. We don't have to do a lot, but we have to try. We have to make some effort. So what one thing could I do to try to dedicate an action to the service of the Lord? Maybe we're already doing so many things, and that's glorious. Maybe we might find that we think we're doing something in a service mood, but we're actually doing it thinking that I want some honor or some prestige or some recognition. Let me give that up. Let me give those fruits to someone else. A very wonderful devotee once made the statement, just imagine what we could accomplish if we don't care who gets the credit. Let me give that up. Let me offer that fruit to Krishna. Krishna, it's yours, whatever you want. So what actions could I try to dedicate as service to the Lord? And then Prithu Maharaj explains, since Maharaj Prithu was a perfect devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he wanted to protect the Lord's creation. So that was his mood. He wanted to protect the Lord's creation by pleasing all of his citizens according to their various desires. I think this is so important. This is the mood of a proper leader. A leader understands that every individual is an individual and requires their own set of needs, interests, and concerns, and wants to satisfy them. It's not a one-size-fits-all program. Everybody on this call, we don't all want and or need the same things in the same way. We have different needs, different interests, different concerns. Therefore, Prithu Maharaj used to please them in all respects with his words, with his mentality, with his works, and with his gentle behavior. Prithu Maharaj Ki Jai. So that is the end. And just would like to thank you all very much for your kind attention. Let me see how I can turn this off now. I think that worked. Stop sharing and back to view. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Learning Bhagavatam ki jai, Jai Nitai Gauda Premanandi, Hari Hari
Hari
Bol.
Hari Bol. Thank you so much, Jai Nitya Prabhu. If anyone wishes to ask a question, please raise your hand. Just bear with me. Vijay Krishna Prabhu, would you like to ask a question, please? All right,
My question is in the chat.
Okay, fine. Thank you, Prabhu. He's put down, my question is related to text 6, where I see that Maharaj Prithu spoke with great restraint. My question is, why is that in the presence of a great sage we tend to speak with great restraint? Is it that we do it out of fear?
Yes, very nice question. So we should be restrained. The challenge is that there's a famous saying that's called familiarity breeds contempt. And sometimes when we're over familiar, we may say things that we regret. We may speak in such a way that's a little harsh or a little condescending or sarcastic or flippant. And actually, we don't show what is known as self-restraint. So we actually have to show some restraint, especially in the association. And yes, you could say it's out of fear. We may be afraid, oh no, what if I say the wrong thing? Oh no, what if I do this? Oh no. But it's also should be done out of respect, out of appreciation. And we should feel that I'm showing restraint here. I'm not trying to talk very fast and be like really excited. Oh my God, it's got to see. Oh no, you know, or we don't go, we should actually be restrained in the sense that we're okay, I'm calm. I want to be clear. I want to restrain my mind and senses from being wild and crazy, and just be very clear and communicate in a very honorable, respectful manner. So I think that would be my answer to your question, Vijay Krishna Prabhu. Thank you very much. I see
You're most welcome.
Thank you. Geeta Gamya, I think has he or she, I think it's a she, maybe.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, it
I
is a she.
just have a doubt. The class was beautiful, excellent, Prabhuji. I
Thank you,
have just a
sir.
question.
Yes,
There are so many devotees of the Lord is
yes.
very high, like Prithu Maharaj. Is there anything different from other devotees? Like what I mean to say is like Prahlad Maharaj. He was very much dedicated to the Lord under any circumstance. And there are many other, I just gave an example of Prahlad Maharaj. But in Prithu Maharaj, he was dedicated. I appreciate all the qualities what he has, what he had at that time. But is there anything different from others?
I think if I'm understanding your question correctly, Geeta Gamya, maybe, is there a distinction? There are exalted devotees, then there, well, Prabhupada said there, well, he used the terminology perfect, more perfect, and most perfect. so, so there are exalted devotees, more exalted devotees, and then there are the most exalted devotees. So, so all devotees are exalted. There's one beautiful quote in a letter from Srila Prabhupada to Atreya Rishi, where Srila Prabhupada states that the devotees of the Lord are the best persons. He says they are the most exalted people on this planet. And then he said they are better than kings, every single one of them. So we should always appreciate and respect the devotees of the Lord. But Rupa Goswami explains, and I believe it's the fifth verse, fifth text of the Nectar of Instruction, if I got that correct. Fifth text, yes, I'd have to look it up. But anyway, he explains there that there is the Kanishta Adhikari, there's the the Majjhima Adhikari and the Uttama Adhikari. There are Kanishta Bhaktas, Majjhima Bhaktas, and Uttama Bhaktas. So there are devotees at different levels, and of course, they should be. We can interact with them. You could say differently. The Uttama, Uttama, Tama means like Tamagun, and Ut means above, one who is above tamas, one who is above the modes, one who is a Mahabhagavat. Their association should always be sought out, and we should try to hear and learn from them. The Madhyama is on the middle platform, and they're advanced devotees who are also, they have great faith. And then the Kanishta, Anishta, Kanishta. Nishta means fixed, and Kanishta means not so fixed, means like sometimes like this, sometimes like that. So there are different levels of devotees, no doubt. All devotees are exalted. And we should try to get the association and appreciation, have appreciation for all those devotees. All devotees we should try to appreciate. At the same time, there are devotees who are very advanced, and we should try to seek out their association and hear from them. And I'm sorry, unfortunately, I'm not one of those devotees, but I appreciate your tolerance of me tonight, because I was just trying to repeat what I have heard from exalted devotees. So in that way, we can all become exalted by just repeating the words of our spiritual master, of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, our founder Acharya, like that.
Thank
Thank
you,
you very much.
Prabhuji. Very nice answer, Prabhuji. Yes, I understood that however many devotees are there, they are all exalted and we should respect them and learn from them and invite them. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Okay, we've
And I
got.
think Gita.
Yeah,
Think Gita.
I think that's
Who is
Raj
Think
Mukunda
Gita?
Prabhu. I think that's Raj Mukunda
No,
Prabhu.
it's Raj. Raj Mataj Mukunda Maharaj.
No, it's Mithil, Prabhu.
Oh, right.
Oh,
Sorry.
I logged in
it's
through this.
not Raj.
Just
It's,
saw my.
did you say Smito?
Yes, yes, Prabhu.
Haribol, dear mother, nice to
Hare
not see
Krishna.
you. Nice to see your virtual hand in a black box.
Yes, thank you so much for wonderful session, Prabhu. Always so nice to hear you. Prabhu, I have a question about inviting devotees you mentioned. So, how do we, because normally we coming from an Asian background, we really focus on making nice items of prasadam and then other things like listening to them really, asking them questions. That is the aspects which at least I ignore, and because all the energy goes in cooking. So can you can you please maybe highlight certain points which we as hosts should remember when we are inviting and make best use of time of senior devotees when they are at our place?
Very nice question. Always so practical, Smito Mataji. So this is also highlights an important point, which is that we are not all the same. And this is a vital, important point for us to understand. We will all have individual and different leanings towards different things. There are 9 processes of bhakti. So each of these processes, different personalities may be inclined to serve in different ways. So let's say like this, that you invite someone to your home, sadhu or someone comes to speak and lead some kirtan or do some katha. Now, part of receiving them and part of receiving guests is that there should be some prasad. Now, of course, we could discuss how opulent is the prasad. Like I become so absorbed in making the most opulent prasad that I don't get to hear the kirtan or anything. That may also still be fine because you were absorbed in thinking how to serve the devotees and serving them with prasadam, and the way to anyone's heart is through their stomach. So there's nothing wrong with that. But sometimes it may be, maybe I could do things a little more simply, and I might also be able to sit in some of the kirtan or hear the class. I don't think that it's like one way is right and another way is wrong. I think we have to understand what is our nature And many people, they're just naturally in a serving mood and they want to cook nicely and, and they want to make the event nice for everybody who came. And if it wasn't for those persons who were able to sacrifice and be in the kitchen or do the cleaning beforehand or the washing up after or the whatever, then the program or the event wouldn't be as effective. So it takes all types. It's not a one or the other, and it's not a one size fits all. So I don't know if that made sense, but
it helped, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, we've got Jay Mataji. Jay Mataji, would you like to ask your question?
Hare Krishna. I'm truly blessed that you gave this talk today. I think this was one of the gem of a chapter. I don't know whether it's a question or a comment from me, but from what I gather reading, Prithu Maharaj himself was one of the incarnation of Lord.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. Shakti Avesh Avatar, yes.
And if he was, the fact that he washed the feet of the Kumaras and he received them with, to me, that the quality is humility there as well. So a Lord practicing humility towards his devotees.
Yeah.
But then he was asking Kumaras a question, but he would have known that himself. So was that for the benefit of others, or?
Exactly. Perfect. Perfect, Jay Mataji. Yes. So this is, if you think about it, Arjuna and Krishna, they had the conversation of the Gita so many times. And Arjuna was a very intelligent person. So often the questions he was asking were for others' benefit. In the Bhagavatam, we're in a section now where Maitreya Muni is speaking to Vidura. Vidura is an exceptionally learned person, but he's inquiring from Maitreya for the benefit of others. Lord Chaitanya and Ramananda Roy were speaking, and Lord Chaitanya was inquiring from Ramananda Roy, asking him questions. And why? Because when devotees have conversations and they ask questions, oh, why is this? What is that? How is that? That is showing their eagerness to hear, their eagerness to chant together like that. So, yes, so now a Shakti Avaisha avatar is a specific type of avatar of the Lord, and we should understand that a Shakti Avaisha avatar is a jiva tattva, who is empowered in a certain way. A certain spark of the splendor of God has been endowed upon that person. I mean, at the moment, because I'm going to France on Monday, and devotees have been talking about, and I was looking at some of these results from the Olympics. So you have personalities who are empowered to do certain things. So Prithu Maharaj is a Shakti Avaisha avatar, means the Shakti, the energy of the Lord has empowered him. He's still Jiva Tattva, he's not Vishnu Tattva, but he's empowered by the Lord to rule and set an example like that. Hope that makes a little bit of sense.
Thank you so much. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, Janagana Mataji, would you like to ask a question?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you for the most amazing class, touching on reality or, real experience in life you touched on. I think this thing about how we can get our head round serving or sharing our home and sharing of what we have and honoring devotees in our home or visitors. It's we can't get our head around this mentality about although Krishna has demonstrated with his best friend Sudama, he washed his feet and he showed us how you can become humble and love your friend or your associates. and a very good example we should follow. But in reality, all we worry about is what people would think. And the only time we'll clean the house and do the best ever is when somebody's coming round or you're having a celebration of some sort. And it's all to do with, oh, would they be talking about me if I didn't clean it properly? There's too much dust in the house or whatever. And was the food okay? And as one Mataji said, you focus on how you prepare the food and how you get it totally 100% correct. It's very difficult in practicality.
Very nice. You know, there are different different stages or motivations of why we might do something. And you know, the devotees, they said to Srila Prabhupada early on, Srila Prabhupada, at Mangal Arati time, we're so tired, we don't feel like dancing. And Prabhupada said, that is all right. He said, just start to move one foot from this side to that side and the other foot from this side to that side. He said, and before long, you'll naturally feel like dancing. So, and Krishna also explains in the second canto, yes, beginning of the second canto, akama sarvakama va mokshakama udara dihi, that whether one is akama, has no desires, whether one is sarvakama, full of desires, or whether one mokshakama, desires liberation, whatever is your situation, just come to Krishna. So whether we come to Krishna and we're cleaning the house because we're worried about what some devotees are going to think, but we invited the devotees. So that's the point. And of course the house should be clean. And if we're cleaning, then we're cleaning our hearts and we're trying to clean for the devotees. It is actually just simply flipping a switch in our mind to change our consciousness to see that, oh, you know, I'll tell you a little story. When I first was coming to the temple, and I found it really annoying that, you know, I was willing to volunteer for service, and I used to like to clean the temple room after breakfast prasadam. And I would always be like, yeah, I'll do it. And then, you know, I'd go and get the bucket, and some devotee would always come to me and he'd be like, no, first you have to wash your hands and mouth. And of course, being from some heathen background, you know, I was like, why do I have to wash my hands and mouth? I'm ready to clean now. I just do it now. No. You have to wash your hands and mouth before you can clean Krishna's temple room. Okay, and then I go upstairs and I do it. And I kept forgetting every time. And probably about the fourth or fifth time, I was going upstairs and I was mumbling to myself, why do I have to wash my hands and mouth to clean Krishna's temple? To clean the temple, you have to be clean. And then all of a sudden I realized, oh my God, I'm thinking about Krishna when I'm going to wash my hands and mouth so that I can clean the temple room. And it's like this principle that's given in Shastra that all the rules and regulations are there simply for two purposes. All the rules and regulations are just to serve two purposes. And what are those two purposes? To always remember Krishna and to never forget him. That is the purpose of all the rules and regulations. So to clean the house nicely for the devotees when they're coming, if we do it out of fear or we do it out of embarrassment, okay, that's not the highest, but at least we're doing it. And eventually, if we keep doing it, one day we'll be like, oh my God, I'm cleaning the house because the Vaishnavas are coming, because they deserve to sit in a clean house. Wow, this is great. Let me clean the house better. My spiritual master once, he said that when we do something for Krishna, we should do it with enthusiasm. He said, so if we're going to wash Krishna's pots, don't just wash Krishna's pots, but wash Krishna's pots. And if we're going to clean Krishna's floor, don't just clean Krishna's floor, but clean Krishna's floor. And we do it with utsahan, and we do it with a conviction and a commitment that I am doing this for Krishna. Let me do it with enthusiasm. And then our hearts will change. So just keep cleaning the house, Janukanya Devi, and no problem. Krishna will manifest one day. You'll be cleaning the house and you'll be like, Krishna, you're here. You'll be back in the spiritual world in your eternal position.
How beautiful. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you. That is
Thank
a
you.
good thing to use when you're feeling that way. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very sweet. Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Vanita Taylor here. I just wanted to say something on this. I was thinking that, yes, you can invite people to come to your house, but nowadays it's really difficult because of the COVID and all that, you know, there is less people coming out. So it's really difficult to get to people. And it's really difficult for the people to come to you. How do you deal with that?
Perfect. You are already part of the way that you can deal with that because you have joined us on Zoom. So you have invited however many people are on the call. I don't know, like 30 it says here. So you have invited 30 people into your house, and we're all here with you. Haribo, Haribo, we're here. Yes, thank you for
That's
letting us in.
perfect. I mean,
Haribo.
thank God that we have got Zoom. I think we are just so fortunate. Krishna's grace is on us. But
Yeah.
I'm just thinking of a lot of elderly people who would love to read Bhagavad. And, you know, sometimes my heart says that I should go there and I should go in their homes, but then I feel that, you know, I don't want to get into trouble.
Well, I don't think it's as serious now as it was, you know, a couple of years ago. And there's one lady when my wife and I were serving at the Bhaktivedanta Manor about a year ago. We helped to set up a devotee care office, and now Mother Himangi Radha is looking after the devotee care office, and she has a team of devotees, and some of them take turns and go and spend time visiting people in homes, or going to their homes, or if they're in care homes, and they go and read with them and spend time. And it's something that's very much wanted by the persons who are in the situation, and also the care homes and different people. So if you want, then you know, we can share her contact details, and you can volunteer, and you can go places where it's okay and there's no threat.
Better idea, yeah.
Lovely.
Definitely.
Thank you so much.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Lord have
I
mercy.
like to share some of that. I'm involved in that. I went to see my lady in the care home today. Took
Beautiful.
prasadam, read to her, sung Narsimha prayers, and
Hari.
she's uplifted every time. I do ask her because she gets a bit drowsy. Are you able to? Do you want me to stay and visit and we have a chat and read, or would you prefer to have a rest? And she said, no, I want you to stay. And this is a
Absolutely.
person that was told by the partner, don't bother to come anymore because we don't want any religious freak here. And
Lord have mercy.
whatever you're saying through one ear goes through the other. And this is a lady has changed her life round in a care home, and very young as well. It's so beautiful. The reward is perfect. It's absolutely
Beautiful.
wonderful.
Thank you for sharing that, Panchali. And thank
Yeah.
you for your
So
perseverance.
if anybody wants, contact Hema Lingi Mataji. Yes.
Yes. Perfect.
Haribo.
Hari Hari.
Banjali Mataji, would you like to ask your question?
Yes, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for the wonderful session as always. Prabhuji, I've got a quick question. So, what is the difference between a pure devotee and an exalted devotee and a Mahajan? So, why is or how is Ambarish an Ambarish Maharaj or a Prithu Maharaj different to the Sanat Kumaras?
Wow. Okay. There's a lot in that question. So, yes. So first, the pure devotee. So Srila Prabhupada was once asked by his disciples, Srila Prabhupada, how many pure devotees are there? And Srila Prabhupada responded by saying, how many disciples do I have? And they felt a little embarrassed. And they said, Srila Prabhupada, we're not pure devotees. And then Srila Prabhupada made this beautiful statement. He said, a mango is a mango. And they all were like, okay, yeah, Prabhupada, a mango is a mango. And he said, no, a green mango is a mango, and a ripe mango is also a mango. He said, so there is pure devotee in practice and pure devotee in perfection. And a pure devotee in practice is like a green mango. And he said, but as long as that mango stays attached to the tree, then it will ripen and become a mango in perfection or a pure devotee in perfection. So he said, therefore, as long as you, my students, my disciples, stay attached to the bhakti marg, to the path of devotional service, you will also become pure devotees in perfection. Now you are pure devotees in practice. So like this, we can understand, again, similar point that I made earlier, that the devotees are pure in their intention, but they may not be on the perfected platform, but they're pure in their intention. So like that, there are different types of devotees. This is explained in the Bhagavatam. It's also explained in Nectar of Instruction I mentioned earlier. And these different levels or types of devotees are described, but most of them in general, the understanding is that there is a distinction in faith. So one who has absolute pure faith in the Lord sees the Lord's hand in every single thing and does not even for a moment doubt that the Lord is not present in my life. This is on the topmost level of a devotee. But even when you reach that level, there are gradations within that. So you ask then, what is the difference between an Ambarish Maharaj or a Prithu Maharaj or the four Kumaras? So these persons are, their glories are extolled throughout the Bhagavatam. All of these persons are, in one sense, you could say, on a similar level. Prahlad Maharaj is a 5-year-old boy, but he is just as exalted in one sense as the four Kumaras, perfected in his own way. Same with Prithu Maharaj. So in one sense, they're all the same. Their faith is very exalted, but they may be also there may be devotees on different, slightly different levels of practice, but they're also still should be considered exalted, like that they should still be respected. It's not that we have respect even for an ant, for a bug, what to speak of someone who's chanting Hare Krishna and practicing spiritual life. But there will be a distinction in the level of faith of someone who is more exalted, their ability to understand and reveal scripture, to help us to understand scripture. Exalted persons naturally inspire others in their faith. Their faith grows in the association of someone who has deep faith. When we associate with that person, our faith increases. That is a sign of someone who's exalted. And we want to associate. There's a saying that when the tide comes in, or when the tide rises, or when the tide comes in, all boats rise. All boats rise. So when a great person comes and speaks, we all feel uplifted. The life airs are lifted. So like that.